So, good afternoon, everybody. Today we're critiquing, discussing, whatever, however you want to talk about it, the postcard assignment. And there's three of you who wish to participate. So first up, Archie, we're going to look at yours. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to allow you, Archie, to speak so you can tell us a little bit more about your approach. So if you want to unmute yourself, care to tell us a little bit more about your postcard? Are these personal photographs or did you just get them off the internet?
Excuse me. I just grabbed them off the internet, except for the picture of the boys. Those are my two sons. And
so these two are your sons?
Yes.
But the rest of these you just grabbed off the internet. Okay.
Yeah, the text here is the sign off they use for their YouTube videos. And that was the idea that finally hit me as a postcard to do. So I chose to find pictures of people being, well, kind or loving to others and put this collage here. And I wanted the boys to stand out from all that. But I didn't want to completely lose the color, so I desaturated it to almost black and white, but to where you could still see color in there. I don't know, I guess that's really all I have to say about it.
Okay, well, that works. I mean, that's why I felt it was a strong solution. It's very personal. I think that makes it more interesting rather than just a generic postcard. I thought that the image of the boys looked like they could have been something that you had grabbed, that were your own personal photographs. And it's clear that it is. The background images, I think the way you desaturated them works really well. It's a strong design tool that you've utilized really well to emphasize your boys. It's a way of bringing them to the forefront. It's a very busy design, but it doesn't have to be visually busy in the sense that you've developed kind of a hierarchy. Clearly the boys read first, the text reads second, and then the images of the people in the background or take a third reading. Okay, and I think that makes for a stronger design. It's a good concept, a strong design, and that's pretty much what I have to say. Now, my criticism would be, and that's just this is a personal approach, is your placement of the text. If you were to overlap, in fact, if you were to take the text and maybe make it a little bit transparent so that you could see, you almost see a kind of a doubling. You see the text and you also can see through it. So you can see the background images. If you were to take Be Loving and Kind and move it over to the right, and it could actually probably be reduced in size a little bit, and then bring To Everyone up a little bit. So Be Loving and Kind to everyone. Everyone reads more as a single unit. And it could be, just placed over to the right. I don't know whether it would work well at the top or the middle or the bottom, but that would be my recommendation. And then, as I said, rather than leave it 100% opaque, then to maybe add some transparency to it so that it would sit back a little bit, but still read stronger than the background images. And that would be it. That's my only recommendation. On a technical level, you isolated your boys from whatever background they were in really well. You integrated the background images very nicely, through overlap, and combining them in kind of a scrapbook, uh, you know, form of composition, where they, intentionally look kind of cut out and combined together. Nice balance between some that read to the left and some read to the right. I mean, it may be something, I don't know whether it was done intentionally, but because if you look, for example, if you can see where my pointer is, or let's look at the ones in the upper right-hand corner. They're clearly facing to the left, so that brings you into the composition. Then you have the next images down here that she's a strong image, so she's facing to the left, but then these figures are facing to the right. So you have this nice juxtaposition of left, right, so it balances out. And then the mother and child down here are facing more forward. So, and they are centered. So it's a nice balance overall. Again, I don't know if you were thinking about that when you were doing it, but that it worked. So again, my only criticism, let's go over the strengths first. As I said, I think it's a strong concept. It's executed well and designed well. My only criticism, if you want to call it that, is dividing the type the way that you did it. If you were to probably, again, move it over to the right, whether it's top, middle, or bottom, I don't know, but then move the to everyone closer to be loving and kind, so it reads more as a singular unit. And when you move it over to the right, it doesn't necessarily have to be quite as large. You could reduce it just a little bit in size, and it would still have the same impact. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. I think it's a fun picture of your kids too. I really do. It's really very charming. So
that's also taken from their YouTube channel, from their title card.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, that also makes it an important statement in the sense that whoever took the photograph, it's a strong image. It's sharp, in focus, good lighting, good color balance, and that sort of thing. So it works pretty well. If it were grainy, it would probably still work, but then because they are the central focus and images of the postcard, it probably helps that they are, the quality of the photograph, the original photograph is good. Okie doke. Do you have anything that you would like to add or change or?
No, just what you said about the text, especially making it a bit transparent. I thought that was a pretty cool idea, but that would be the only thing I'd want to change.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think keeping it separate the way that you have, I know that you're trying to draw attention to the images in the background, but you would see that anyway. Your eye would be drawn to those and you'd want to figure it out. But because the text is an important component to your design, to see them as a single unit, I think is important rather than divide them up, separate it the way that you have. That's all. So, you would read it 1, 2, then 3 in the background. Boom, boom, boom. Okie doke.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of the rest of you, would you like to comment on Archie's postcard or add anything or challenge what I said, my comments or anything? Anybody? No? Jess, you would like to? Okay. Hold on. There we go. Jess, would you like to comment?
Yeah, because I take a lot of film classes, the only thing I might do here is move this image over to the right and move this image over to the left, because they are then both pointing towards the middle, as all of the other images are. And that's it.
So
But I'm
which
not-
images again would you move?
Well, the two images that are in the middle row.
Okay,
Yeah.
these where my
Yeah,
mouse
I
is
would
pointing
just
right now.
I would
Okay.
just switch them, one in
Okay.
place of the other, because that way they're both facing inward.
Okay, that's a good suggestion. Does that make sense to you, Archie?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the in the image with the nurse and the person in the chair there, she's the commanding presence of that image. She's higher up, so she can go over to the right and be looking in, because she's as I say, she's looking in that direction. But
Right, she will draw the viewer's eye towards the center of the composition.
right, and the other three people there in the other picture, they're all facing towards the picture's right side, and so that way they're kind of all facing each other, and that might give you more room to play with the text. Also, be loving and kind. You might be able to put it more down the middle if you wanted to, and as the professor said, make it less opaque, so that everybody can still be seen through it. So that's all. Just a suggestion.
There you go. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
Okie doke. Anybody else? Would anyone else like to comment? No? Okie doke. Well, thank you, Archie. So Umberto is next up. So let's see if we can't find Umberto's.
Oh,
okay.
Excuse me one moment. And otherwise, I think that's a great postcard. That is a really, really super postcard. Very emotional.
Yeah, it was. It's very, yeah, I think, you know, I think that is true for all of our assignments, that the more personal you make them, you tend to invest more into them, you know, and because they do become personal, and maybe you incorporate some of your own images, they really take on their own life, and they become something more than just a student assignment. They really do. So the next one, we have Umberto. I thought this was a nice one too. I guess maybe because this speaks to my artist sensibility. So hold on here. I'm going to let you talk, Umberto.
Hello?
Yep, I can hear you. I think
Okay.
everybody else can hear you.
All right. So can you make it like just so I can see the bottom part as well?
Yeah, let me reduce it in size a little bit.
Okay.
Hold on. I don't want to make it bigger. Let's reduce it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I didn't want to do that. Oh, no, no, Mr. Bill. Hold on. Let me go back. There we go. Oh, here, wait a minute. I don't want to add a comment. I want to reduce it in size. So why can't, I don't want to make it bigger. I want to make it smaller. There, well, I'm just going to move it up a little bit. For
It's
some
all right,
reason,
yeah.
this is how
So
it's.
I'll start from the bottom and work my way up to the top. All right. So I wanted my postcard to be kind of some of my favorite things about LA. So I work in LA. I spend a lot of time in LA. I don't live in LA, but you know, I'm there enough to where I whenever someone comes into town, I like to show them around and take them to places. So I wanted to add some touches that were my favorite places to go in LA. So starting from the bottom, I used the magnetic lasso tool in order to cut out this picture of Griffith Observatory
Right.
from a much larger picture of Griffith Observatory. I didn't want the whole background because I wanted the background to be other parts of LA. So I used the magnetic lasso to cut that out and kind of make it the base. Like that's why it's in front of the mural here. I also, when I read the assignment, I thought it had to be in grayscale, and that's the only reason it's in grayscale. The color one, I think actually one looks better.
Yeah, that was my original intent, but then I think I verbally said, that it doesn't have to do that anymore.
Got it.
That was
okay.
because I developed the assignment a while back, but still, it works really well in black and white. And
Okay.
I figured no matter what anyone did, whether it was color or black and white, it would still, be fine. And it is.
Okay.
It works very nicely in black. It probably works better in black and white than if you had left it in color.
Okay. Well, the only reason I mentioned the color is because the background here and some of the background has like purple and gold touches as a connection to the mural here. So this mural is from the Arts District. I actually took a picture of this mural and then cropped it to make it fit. So it's obviously a picture of Kobe Bryant and his daughter. It's on the corner of Alameda and I think it's 4th.
Okay.
There's a mural, and so I took a picture of this mural and then just cropped it. And I wanted to make sure I had the Obey stencil work or not stencils, the paste work that he did up on the top, because that wall has a lot of other art, and so I wanted to incorporate that because in high school, coming up, that was street art was some of the my favorite art to just go look at and just go find to take pictures of and things like that. So this mural and that, and this is in the Arts District, so there's a lot of murals and things like that around there. I threw in the palm trees because when I think of LA, I mean, I don't know if it's native to LA, but I mean, there's palm trees everywhere. So I wanted to add those.
Yeah, palm trees are not native to LA, but they are a signature image that indicates kind of Hollywood, Southern California. Yeah.
I wanted to try to incorporate, there's like a street in LA where it's like a row of palm trees that kind of highlight the Hollywood sign, but I didn't want the Hollywood sign because as much as everyone thinks of the Hollywood sign when they come to LA, and I like going there, obviously it's next to the Griffith Observatory, but I don't really, I guess I don't really enjoy taking people to Hollywood specifically in LA because everyone always wants to go to the Walk of Fame and all that. And I don't really much care for that area. But I know it's iconic, so I wanted to add the palm trees, and I couldn't really crop all of the palm trees without messing up the mural. So I just wanted to put at least 2 on both sides to kind of highlight that. And then the caption that I put, Los Angeles, where everybody is somebody, that's from a rap song by a rapper named Murs. He's an LA rapper, and it's like his love song to LA, I guess. And that's like the hook of the song. He says, where everybody is somebody. So I added that. The specific font that I used, I actually bit it from, if people are familiar with streetwear brands. So this is the streetwear brand Supreme uses this specific font, which is Futura Italic Bold. So I used that font to put it because I thought it kind of fit well with the street art vibe of Obey also in the photo.
Well, you like Obey. Are you like to seek out the Obey?
Right.
So you familiar with Shepard Fairey, right?
Yeah, Shepard Fairey, right.
Yeah, but are you also familiar with Barbara Kruger?
Yeah, so I know Supreme stole that font from Barbara Kruger.
Exactly.
And then I think they tried to sue her over its use or something like that. I don't know, very odd. I don't like that aspect of Supreme, but I do like some of their designs. So that's what got me into it. But once I started looking into it, yeah, I got a little bit familiar with Barbara Kruger.
Yeah, well, you've adopted, I mean, it's the look and feel of Shepard Fairey and Barbara Kruger very nicely without being Barbara Kruger or Shepard Fairey. So it does have a very Los Angeles feel to it because, you know, they kind of take precedent in that regard.
Yeah.
But I like
And
how you take, probably the only criticism I would have is that at the bottom, I would probably center the, it's shifted a little bit to the right.
yeah.
And I would enlarge it just a little bit so you see where my mouse is or my cursor, with these little gaps, that you
Yeah.
don't see those.
Okay.
But I would center the observatory so that's absolutely centered. Other than that, I wouldn't change a thing. And Chris Burden's city lights is also, I mean, that's really,
Yeah. I just wanted to add that part. I kind of wanted to add it at the top to kind of make it like, I mean, I know it's lights and palm trees, but it kind of resembles a crown. So I was going for that at the top because, so that was what I was going for there with that photo at the top.
it's definitely over the years become probably as strong, if not stronger than the Hollywood sign. It attracts people like you wouldn't believe. So good balance in composition, in how your postcard reads, because it's very, the imagery is very complicated, but clearly, you know, where it says Los Angeles, where everybody is somebody, that's dominates. And I can tell that, you know, Kobe Bryant is important to you. Other symbols of, you know, Los Angeles are equally important. They kind of take maybe a little bit of a backseat, but I kind of like, you know, the city lights at the top, how that it does act as a crown, as you say, that works very nicely. And it all, you know, your balance between lights and darks and that sort of thing, and composition and how it reads, reads really well. So I don't, other than centering the observatory at the bottom, I don't know that I would change anything. It looks really good. I wouldn't change the font, I wouldn't change anything. I kind of like it black and white too.
Okay.
It would be interesting to see a color version of it, but that would probably be more difficult. Now you're dealing with hue, and you would have to deal with the intensity of the colors and how they play and how they would control the viewer's eye in moving around and through the composition. But a black and white interpretation works very nicely.
Thank you.
So, okay, Umberto. So does anybody want to add anything to what Umberto said? Jess, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I think that this is beautifully framed. I agree. The only real change is just to center up the observatory at the bottom. Other than that, I think this is great. It's very reminiscent of what was once a very successful airline campaign back in, I think, the 70s or 80s, where they posted billboards around all the major cities in the country saying, whichever city they're in, like Los Angeles, you're the center of the world. And it was a very successful ad campaign. This is very reminiscent. So this is really good artwork.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would agree. That's something that I hadn't thought about. You're adding really some good stuff, Jess. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's like an ad campaign right there for LA. It's great.
Yeah. And very, you know, especially with Kobe Bryant added, it's very contemporary, but then adding the observatory and then Chris Burden's city lights, you know, adds an art aspect to it. So you have popular culture, you have sports, and you have, you know, the observatory history of it as well. So yeah, and you know, they all, you can't have everything, but the images that are included are very significant, and probably your mind, when you looks at it, kind of leaps and jumps in thinking about other imagery that's reminiscent of LA as well. So yeah, it's all works really good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Umberto. Who else do we have? We have Karina. So hold on. Let me find Karina's. Hold on here. Do you see yours, Karina?
It's the C, Victoria, under A and gone.
Hold on here.
It's the second column, second row.
Oh, here it is. Thank you very much. Okay, there we go. Okay, Karina, do you want to tell us a little about your concept?
It's my sister's cat, and I wanted to make him look like a tiger, like giant, or like a fictional size cat.
Okay. Now, where did you find, aside from the cat, which is your sister's cat, where did you find the other images?
Oh, these are all my pictures.
Oh, they
So
are. Okay, cool. That's
I
nice.
two pictures. So one is of like Santa Monica Beach, and the other one is when I went to Oaxaca in Mexico, and I blended them together because I like the sky in the Oaxaca picture. I like the clouds. So they're all my photos.
Okay. So where do you think the strengths of your postcard lie, and what would you do if you were to go back and say, I need to make changes?
I think where I wanted to be better was blending the cat into the background, like not make it look so copy and paste. I really liked blending the two pictures together. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, I think overall it's funny and I like it.
I would agree. I think the only thing that you could probably, to blend the cat with the background, probably what you could do is take the clone stamp tool. So let me see if I can't zoom in a little bit so we can look at parts of this. Okay, so you could take parts of it, and maybe it could be, you know, parts of the bush back here, something like that, and overlap the cat's paws a little bit, not everywhere. Does that make sense? And
Yes.
that would help to integrate them a bit more with the background, only where they kind of touch the ground.
Yeah.
Just in some parts. Probably one more thing that I would do too is, because all of the cats are the same size, I would pick one of them and enlarge it so it became the dominant cat, and maybe that could be the one that's down here at the bottom. Instead of making them all about the same size. That would be probably the other thing that I would do, and insert it, you know, into the background that way. Otherwise, you've created, by overlapping the images that you've taken yourself, atmospheric perspective. So you have the greatest amount of detail in the black and white imagery in the foreground, the greatest amount of contrast. And then as you go back in space, the the images get less, there's less contrast. They're not, not as dark, not as light, so that they recede in space. So you get, a strong depth that way. House tigers. Yeah, I mean, it has kind of an ambiguous title to it, so that's fine, and the placement of it is fine. So probably the concept is good. It's overall composition works well. Technically, probably the only thing, as you pointed out yourself, that could be improved a little bit is maybe integrating the cats with the background a little bit better. And as I said, the best way of doing that is taking the clone stamp tool and taking from that background and adding, putting it over like the cat's paw, or down here, maybe where the cat rests directly on the ground. The cat in the upper left-hand corner, I might leave alone since it's more like on a hard surface, not do anything with it. And then it would be worth a try just to see, rather than have all the cats the same size. Take one of them, probably the center cat, and make it a little bit larger so that it comes forward in space a little bit, but maybe because it lies in the same picture plane as the cat on the right, it may not work. So, maybe my suggestion isn't such a good one, that they need to be about the same size.
Yeah, the cat up in the mountain on the left is my favorite, how it looks on there.
Yeah, it's, it looks big because, relative to everything else. So it would be huge, if you consider it in perspective, because it sits back a little bit. But because it is sort of a fantasy kind of thing, and you're combining domesticity with wildness and that sort of thing, it could be, it's a fantasy kind of thing. So that would be it. Anything else? Does anybody else want to add something? Anybody?
Yeah, if it's okay, I'll bust in here. I think that this is hilarious. This is, I love this. I think that if I were to do anything with this, I would take the cat that's in the lower right corner and I would put him on that bluff that's in the middle, because I think it would be a perfect posting for him. Yeah, exactly. And
yeah, okay. I like your suggestion.
Picture at the bottom center is absolutely gorgeous as of a picture as that is. I don't think it blends well unless you were to somehow adjust color or darkness and contrast and things. I might put another cat where the current cat is on the bottom right, and then maybe one over on the left underneath that palm tree area, in the gully, the wash that's leading down to the beach there.
Sure.
Yeah, right in there, or a little lower, that area. And I think that this is a really cute idea.
Yeah,
Super
I would
cute.
agree. I think the first suggestion, is to take the cat that's here to the right and reduce it in size in a little bit, and then put it right here where my cursor is.
Yes.
Try that.
He just looks like he's made for that position right there.
Yeah.
That pose is just, I think it would be beautiful right there.
Yep. I would agree. And I think that's probably about it. So Karina, does that work for you?
Yes, more cats. Thank you.
Okay.
I have two of the little guys myself, so.
Yeah, cats are wonderful. Had both cats and dogs. So is there anyone else who wishes to share? Yes, no? If no, then that's it. We're done for today. I'm not going to force anybody to be a part of this. I know that if we were in class, it would be a different situation. But because we're working remotely, I don't know, it's kind of awkward for everybody. So I'm not going to press the issue. If you would like a private critique, we can always arrange something online or do a private one-on-one Zoom meeting, you know, so that, you know, if you don't want to be put on the spot or feel that you would be embarrassed or anything, we could always do that. So just to let everybody know. Before you guys leave today, let me go ahead and pause the recording for a minute, and I'm going to go ahead and take roll, and then just for the heck of it, and then I guess we can call it a day. So hold on here. So I've turned the recording back on briefly, just to say goodbye to everybody, and I appreciate your participation. We were able to talk about some really good concepts and execution today. The changes that we're suggesting here are really minor. They're not significant, not by any stretch of the means. For example, for yours, Karina, to be able to integrate the cats with the background, you know, using the clone stamp to just allow a little bit of overlap to occur so that it looks like the cats are nestled in the weeds or the brush, would be all that you would need, maybe to move, you know, one cat over here and reduce it in size a little bit, and that would be a perfect change. Do nothing else. Yeah, we've had some really good concepts. I appreciate that, and everything has been executed well. That's it. So again, I appreciate you guys participating, and you are free to go. I'm going to pause the recording, and when everybody is left, I will end our meeting unless somebody wants to.
I just have one last question, Professor. We don't have to do it in black and white now?
No, you don't.
Okay.
No, that was originally it was a two-part assignment, and I had everybody start it in black and white, and then later on I had everybody then colorize it, and it sort of morphed into different things over the years. So no, it doesn't have to be. If you don't want to have to deal with color and you just want to focus on composition, then black and white is a good way to go. You know, if you're having trouble with your images later on, you know, making your composition work, then you might want to apply the black and white filter, and that might solve some issues. That was the original reason for doing that. But if you want to, you know, leave it black color, then that's fine by me.
Well, I was thinking of doing a combination.
Oh yeah, okay, both would be good too. You know, again, this is a you know, we're teaching Photoshop, but at the same time, it is an art class. Yes. So, you know, I don't want to stifle anyone's creativity. The reason I make these assignments is that I think at different stages and learning Photoshop, you know, you guys are equipped with the tools to do different things. And it also demonstrates to me what you're capable of doing. That's why I assign them, you know. And then in the advanced class, I give a lot of latitude, way more latitude. So.
Yeah, I thought all three ideas that were presented here today were really good.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree.
Had an element of emotion or pathos or humor. So yep. It was great.
I would agree very much. I'm very happy with that. Yeah.
So, okay, I'll say goodbye. Thank you, Professor.
Okay, bye-bye. And so you're having, let me pause the recording again. I'm going to say goodbye, but I'm going to pause the recording.